back to Nomad Sculpts. For this video, I will be sculpting an elephant. This is part 1 and focuses on structure and forming an elephant using the block out method. Let's begin with blocking out our shapes, starting with spheres. I didn't do it before and ended up changing this later, but for easier maneuvering, make sure that you are forming each block to the corresponding perspective of the reference. So what that means is right now I should be working from the right perspective, not the front. This is because my reference is turned right. This makes it a lot easier for you in the long run and is good practice when it comes to saving your camera views. Right now you see me adjusting both the spheres I apply to the body, and I'm focusing on like the shoulder part and then the hip part, and then later I will join these pieces together. This step can wait to the end, but once you have all your shapes blocked out, use the move tool to join the parts. These two shapes join the body from the right side. Now let's match to the next perspective, the top view. Always remember to save your camera views. Pinch fingers on your screen to fit the shapes to the top perspective of the elephant. Don't adjust the size using gizmo, it will affect the right view of the reference or the elephant. I found this reference on Pinterest, which is a great source for references, and it has the elephant perspectives matched. If you don't have that, match the hips and the shoulders to the reference. To get the placements correct, as you can see here, I matched the top of the sphere where you see the hips, or not the hips, but the shoulder, and then I did the same thing for the hips. Use the move tool to form the body from the top perspective. Again, this can wait till the end when you have all your shapes blocked out, but I like to do this like as I'm working so that it's like not a step that I have to do later. And this was my first time doing this, so I'm pretty much just learning as I go and showing you guys how I did it as I'm creating the elephant. I can't stress enough how amazing camera views are when it comes to using references for your sculpts. They are extremely helpful and saves so much time so you're not having to resize everything and put everything back into place. So camera views, use them. Let's move to blocking out the head using another sphere. We're going to simply insert this, and when you insert your spheres, make sure they're all centered. You can do this by going into the gizmo settings and just setting it all to 0. Decrease the sphere to the width of the elephant head. Do the same for the length and height of the head. And this is from the top view and the right view for now. After this, we're going to create the actual front view of the head. Always go back and forth between these perspectives when you add, adjust, or move any shape to make sure you didn't mess up anything, and also to put everything back. Raise the sphere and adjust according to the right perspective. Rotate the sphere slightly so the bottom center of the 3D oval is at the chin, as you can see here. Now let's move to the front perspective. Doing the same thing we did before with the two fingers to the screen, match the front views of the reference and the actual or objects in your scene. Go ahead and solo the shape so you can see better. To adjust the head and make sure all perspectives look right. Looks good. Same as we did with the other spheres, use the move tool to define the head a little more. So make it look a little bit more like that skull, I guess, aesthetic that an elephant head has, where you do see almost his cheekbones and the temples. Now for the trunk, I am using the tube tool. Leave it invalidated if you want to adjust it later, but right now I'm going to validate it because this is the first time and I'm really only focusing on just getting the basic structure so the snout is pointed down. Center the points in the middle of your trunk reference, and then you use the radius points to adjust the actual tube to the length or the width of the elephant trunk. After the elephant trunk, we're going to use the tube tool to create the tusks. And this is one tube created on the side of the trunk and then mirrored, so you don't have to do the tusk twice. You just mirror it over. And this is why I do stress that it's important to make sure that all your elements are centered. And when you do move, when you add an object and intend to move it along the axes. Don't just freely move the shape around on this scene. So here you see me turn it back to the right view just to make sure that everything is aligned. Right now I'm moving the tusk up front and I'm going to slightly rotate this so that it matches that curve tusk in the reference. So this is just the top part where the skin is. To create the actual tusk, I'm going to add another tube tool and then I'm going to shape that out to look almost like a soft triangle, which I'm also going to curve. Same thing we did for the elephant trunk. You're going to use the radius points to adjust to match the tusk skin top part to the actual reference, just to make sure it looks good. Right now you see me lowering the vertices amount of this tube so that I'm saving space, and this is very important. Always go into tube typology and lower it as much as you can, and what this does is save you a lot of space. You'll see me do this a lot in my videos. Even if it looks a little boxy with the element, you're still going to smooth it in the end. I'm going to show you how you can do that without going crazy over a lot of vertices and using a lot of space. Right now I am creating the actual tusks, and in the future when I do sculpt the elephant, I'm going to make them a lot longer because I think it will look nice. But right now, this is where we're at. We're using the reference. So we're adding a tube tool, and when we do this, only tap radius once to have the radius points that can be affected at the top and the bottom. And at the bottom of the tube, we're going to look and decrease that radius so that it sort of pinches or comes together at the end. This is what you should have so far with the body, the head, the trunk, and the tusk. The next thing we're doing is creating the tail of the elephant, and we're going to be using the tube tool for this as well. Also note that I am using path instead of curve because it allows me to have a lot more control when creating or anything, just creating anything. One thing that is important is to lock your perspective, because if you do turn or like touch the screen, the objects you already have, they'll turn, and then the tube will get a little messed up and wonky. So keep it locked in the perspective that you're working in. So right now I'm working in the right perspective so that the tail goes smoothly and into or onto the object. Remember to always look at your elements from every perspective to make sure that it looks right and everything is matched up. Right now, I'm checking out the top perspective or the top view, and you can see that the tail is a little off, so I'm going to center it like so. And this is what your tail should look like, or the progress you should be at right now. So we have the trunk, the tusk, the head, the shoulder, or the top part of the body, and then we have the bottom part of the body where the hips are, and then we have the tail. Now let's move on to creating the actual limbs. Again, we're using the tube tool. You can use cylinders, but I think using the tube tool for me personally is a lot easier. And in the end, I'll just split it where the ankles and the knee meet with the split tool. But again, using the path and then using the radius, I'm going to adjust the front leg to the reference that I have. Here I am using the primitive settings and then also the radius points to adjust to adjust the leg a little bit more and to define it, where the ankle is, and then also where the knee joint is. And later you'll see me split these parts so that if you do ever want to adjust, like lift the leg, bend the leg at the knee, bend the leg at the ankle, you can do that. Now that you have seen that I have split the leg, what we're doing right now is actually turning, or we're going to solo this object and we're going to turn it to see the bottom. And I'm going to add a sphere for the joint. So when you, or for the knee, and when you are wanting to adjust the knee or bend it, you can do it at this joint or at this point. You can see me do this in my human body reference. I have a video, and what I'm doing is making that is going to be the main joint where you rotate and turn any of the joints below it or connected to it. Right now, what you see me doing is making sure that the leg can be moved at the joint part. So I'm going to adjust this specific gizmo to the top of the shoulder, or where the shoulder joint would possibly be. And that is where you're going to see that I am just trying to maneuver it so that if I do intend in the future to ever adjust or move the ankle or move the shoulder of the arm, this is what would happen, and it will be a lot easier for me to do when these points are adjusted this way and the gizmo too is just this way. Remember to always check out each reference or perspective to make sure that the points match. This is where we should be at so far, where we have all of our views. Make sure to save this. I'm just saving this view so that you can see the progress, but you should have the trunk, the tusk, the head, the shoulder, the hips, the tail, the joints or the front legs, and then after this we're going to create the back legs. To create the limbs in the back or the back legs, we're going to use the tube tool again, and we're going to do the same exact thing that we did for the front limbs. And we're going to use, once we create our once the tube tool is used to create the leg, we're going to use the radius points to adjust the width of the leg, or each point of the leg, so that it matches the reference. And then after that, we are using the move tool to sort of flatten out that leg and match it to the top reference and the right reference to make sure all the elements look right and are in place. This is what you should have so far, and the joints are all there. Now we're going to use a sphere to add the actual elephant's foot. And what we're going to do is just add the sphere, move it down, resize it, and then we're going to cut it in half, or split it in half, or not split, but trim in half. What you see me doing here or next is using the trim tool to shape out the foot. And in the future, I'm going to do a different method where I just use the move tool instead of using the trim tool, because in the end, I like have to do a lot of smoothing and then a lot of flattening to really get rid of those sharp edges. So in the future, just use the move tool to flatten it out, or use the flatten tool to really shape the bottom or shape the foot of the elephant. So this is the result of using the trim, and as you can see, those very sharp edges, they're hard to get rid of using the smooth tool. So I used the flatten tool to sort of fill in some of the space and then smooth it out. But we're gonna definitely in the future just use move to and flatten tool to really get the shape of the elephant's foot. While we do this sculpting the foot, I want to talk a little bit about why I chose to sculpt an elephant. I love elephants. They're like a big representation of wisdom to me. They have so much power. They're beautiful. I saw an elephant when I was probably like 8, and we went to a circus, and the elephant was massive. It was huge. It was such a beautiful animal. And my mother also loves elephants. I also love koi fish, which I'm going to actually create a video on how to create a koi fish. But I was sitting here like, why didn't I sculpt the elephant yet? Like, my mom has a million elephant sculptures around the house, so like, let's sculpt an elephant. And it was definitely a challenge for me. You can see that this is a learning trial. This is a, you know, there are going to be fails somewhere in the video, but I in the future learn from them, and when I sculpt an outfit again, I will definitely learn from my mistakes and do the blocking out a lot more better, or make it look better. So this is where you see me using the flatten tool, which is a really good tool when it comes to flattening out those hard edges. I found that that is a great technique I can use to really smooth out and get rid of those hard creases, because the smooth tool ain't doing it. So yeah, definitely let me know what you think about elephants in the comments. I love elephants. Definitely, let me know, and I will probably do another video on actually having the elephant joints moved. But for right now, this is just like the basic blocked out method, and basic standing, shrunk down, legs straight, basic. I'm going to speed this up, but what you're seeing me doing pretty much throughout this entire process is really smoothing out and try and get these feet to look right using the flatten and smooth tool. And again, I'm showing you all this so that I learn from my mistakes, and then you guys can also learn from the mistakes I make and how I fix them, or how I will fix them. This is the end result here. Again, not um, too perfect, but nothing's really perfect, but not too sloppy either. And the next thing we're going to be moving on to are the beautiful ears. I love the elephant ears. I love elephant ear plants. I love them so much. To create the elephant ears, we're going to be adding spheres, and we're going to flatten these spheres around the head area, or move them to around the head area. Slightly rotating the ears, or this flattened spheres that we just added, and we're going to match it up to our reference. And from the front view, we're going to shape the ears to match the shape of the ears in the reference. And then we're going to go back to the right view and really adjust these ears to make sure that you got it in the right place, because the elephant ears, those have to be perfect. Everything else, could still use a bit of work. The elephant ears, yes, gotta be on point. Now in front view, you see me using the move tool to really push those ears up. I'm not doing any trimming, because the elephant ears, they do have folds. So you still want to keep that realistic sort of fold type of aesthetic that the elephant ears has. And I'm just doing this by using the move tool instead of using the trim tool, by cutting it. And then in the future, like, the details will pop up a lot more when you have these more they're not defined folds, but like they have these slight folds that will really pop out the veins in the elephant ears. I'm using the trim tool to cut down the inside of the ear, or like the loop part. I think where the loop is, just telling from human anatomy. But yeah, and then we're using the smooth tool to really smooth out that hard edge. So this is where we should be at. So far, we have the tusk, the trunk, the head, the ears, the body, the limbs, the feet, the tail. And this is the basic sort of elephant blockout. I don't know what you call this. Elephant blockout technique or method or model that could be used to create other elephants. The joints are movable, and the trunk would be movable if I haven't validated it. In part two, we're going to be focusing on details and actually adding in the nails and the creases and the folds, and really get into the nitty gritty detail type stuff that this elephant requires to be able to be finished. Don't forget to leave a comment below on whether you love elephants or if there's anything you want me to help you with or figure out. Also, please like if you do like this video. Let me know if it worked out for you, and subscribe for more videos like this. I will see you in part two. Thank you for joining me in Naisha Sculpts. See you later.